All right, welcome everyone to this week's meeting of the Clyde Sukeforth chapter of SABR. I am Bruce McClure, the chapter chair, and we always hold our meetings in conjunction with the Gardner-Waterman chapter of SABR in Vermont, Dr. Clayton Truder, chair. Now, it's one of those nights we don't have a lot on the agenda. I thought we would just open it up to everybody's hot takes, opinions, and all of that for a little Diamond Discourse to talk about how we're feeling 2 months into the season. But I want to talk about a few things first before we get going. First thing I would like to share with everyone is this. The chapter had its first in-person meeting this year at historic Holman Stadium in beautiful downtown Nashua, New Hampshire. I mean, where else would we be? And we were able to, we signed up a couple of members, talked to an awful lot of people about SABR and Clyde and his place in baseball history. And it really worked out to be a great little evening. And a good time was had by all. And since we had so much fun last weekend, we're going to do it again this weekend. Because I'll tell you now, there's an awful lot going on at SABR in New England this week. And we'll talk about Saturday, June 7th to begin with, because we're going to be in Keene at Alumni Field for some Swamp Bats baseball. They are a NECBL team who are taking on the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. And we're going to do it all over again. We're going to have our table. We're going to have our giveaways. We're going to have our books. We're going to have a really good time down there. And this is a call for anybody who's in the area. If you would like to come down and help us out this Saturday, please let me know. And I'll put you on a list so that we can all get in and spread the word of SABR. We're going to meet in Alumni Stadium's parking lot at 5 p.m. Just GPS Alumni Stadium, Keene, New Hampshire, and you will see that come up, and you will be all set and ready to go with us. So we would really like to see a lot of our friends come by. Next up, on Sunday, now I don't know how many, I'm not going to, this sounds like a brag, but it's not, but Molly and I got a new car over the past few days, and it's our first EV. So we have a little electric Chevy Bolt, and it got put through its paces yesterday. So we had to go to Connecticut to visit her grandmother, who is failing in health, I hate to say. And then we had to bring her son Ian back to his natural dad up in Massachusetts. But then I had to go and do this, and I've got to get back to my screen here so I can hit share, and then this, and then this. Oh my.
Oh yeah, this. I saw this.
Yep. So we got the chance to visit with Alexa McCrae, who is a longtime SABR member, Larry McCrae's widow. And she made a rather large donation to the Springsteen Memorial Library for, in her husband's name. And we couldn't have been more grateful to her for doing so. But I got to tell you, what you see here is before we actually filled up the trunk, because we had that thing right up to the top of the seats, and then we had to fill up the back seat too. So I'm figuring that somewhere along the line this week, my wife is going to murder me for this.
Honey, I got it in the dining room now.
Yeah, it's all in a dining room now. Forever. There's.
Are you going to be one of those
Molly?
kooky old people with books everywhere? Like
right?
when you go to somebody's house and you're 90, you got these stacks of books everywhere.
That's it. So if you see Molly, say something.
I'm right here, honey.
She's buried.
So yeah, that's our dining room. So we've got to go through these books now. In this pile of books, there were several. And anybody who was at the Boston meeting a couple of weeks ago, Dixie, you'll remember this. Joanne talked a little bit about cricket. And there are many books in that pile on the subject of cricket. So we're going to run those up to Joanne at some point in the near future, as soon as I find them. And
we also have a whole extra set of Bill James. And
we got all sorts of stuff.
The Elias books too.
Yeah, we got Elias books and Bill James. It's crazy talk. It's just crazy talk. But
so if anyone is looking for like Bill James or Elias books, please shoot us an email. We probably can hook you up.
Right, Ben, go.
What kind of Bill James books were they? Like historical baseball abstracts?
They're the abstracts from the 80s.
Oh God, those should be. Does SABR have a library somewhere they could be stored? Like those? You
mean our library? Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's our library.
Well, I didn't know if there was like that.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Is like, are you torn about throwing those 80s Bill James books out?
It's my second set. Of course, it's not all of the abstracts, but it's many of them. So yeah, there you go.
You should send them to the commissioner's office. Send to somebody really cheeky.
So.
Oh no! Wait, send them to the Oakland Athletics or the now Sacramento.
Oh. Yeah, well, what do they think? It's Oakland, Sacramento, homeless athletics, whatever they are now. Poor franchise. I feel terrible for that franchise. All right. So other things. This is a very active week up here in New England for SABR. On Thursday night, the Boston chapter will have a meeting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Zoom, and it is entitled "Take Me Out to the Games Project." The SABR Games Project is in its 11th year of writing baseball history, 9 innings or more at a time. Games Project stories draw on quotes from participants, newspaper articles, and other sources to put the reader in the game and put each game in historic context. There are more than 5,300 stories on the Games Project's website. This Zoom is going to feature 3 great speakers. The project chair, James Fredland, will be with us, and he is a member of the Ford's Field Pittsburgh chapter. Where's Karen? He is I do believe he is a long-suffering Pirates fan, and he's going to give an overview of the project's goals and purpose. Then they've got a treat for you. Esteemed chapter member, longtime SABR member, Dr. Donna Halper will be with them, and her focus will be on Negro Leagues research and how it's informed her Games Project work. Donna did a presentation for us on SABR Day. She is one of SABR's immensely bright lights. She is a fantastic person. You really want to see her present. And finally, Kurt Blumenau will be there, and he's going to talk about a recent project in which he wrote stories for all 8 Major League games played on May 12th, 1915. You can only get this stuff at SABR, guys. You got to see this stuff. It's amazing. Boston chapter member and member of the board of directors, Bill Nolan, will serve as MC. That is 7:30 Eastern, Thursday, June 5th. Dixie Tarango, go.
I got 2 things quickly. First of all, Donna Halper is in the Massachusetts Broadcasting Hall of Fame.
Yes.
You should know that. And secondly, as I pointed out to Bruce and Joanne, in case you missed it, it's something that you can miss in the website part of the SABR newsletter last week, the very first thing at the top was a list of books from the University of Nebraska Press. There are 225 books that you can see that are available from the University of Nebraska. It's an amazing array of stuff.
So I went out and took a look at that sale. And Dixie buried the lead. It is silly, the number of good books that are available there. If you didn't get This Week in SABR, or you put it in your trash and you deleted it or whatnot, go to sabr.org, hit latest news, scroll down to where This Week in Sabres link is, click that and it'll come right up. You can go right out to the University of Nebraska's website, and the number of books is nuts. You got to see it. Mark, go.
Well, I was just thinking we had such a good time the other night. I'm going to be traveling the next couple of weeks, but when I get back, I probably hit Worcester maybe once a week. If anybody wants to go, I can meet you there. Or if anybody wants to go to a Cape game, I drive down there too. I don't mind. I live south of Boston. I don't want to put it out there exactly where I live, but I'd actually, if you want to meet at my house, I would drive down. So if anybody wants to do any of that stuff, I'm open to it.
Contact Mark directly. He'll put his email in the chat. I just put him on the spot there, but yeah, email him. I'd like to get down to Worcester myself this year, so hopefully Mark and I can hook up on a game and we can have a little impromptu meeting down there. I'll be down in Hartford with my wife in August with the Smokey Joe Wood chapter in Connecticut, August 2nd for that game. They're having a get-together at the Dunk down there, so it should be a fun afternoon for that as well.
Another great field.
Isn't it, though? That place is amazing. Dixie, what do you got?
Just in case anyone lives around Nashua and Hollis, New Hampshire, there's one more Pizza with Pete Palmer at noontime at Hollis Pizza this Wednesday, 2 days from now. So if you're available at noon and you like pizza, come on over. Just sit around and yak dog baseball for a couple hours.
Right. If you like pizza and you like baseball and you want to have lunch with some of Sabres' heavy hitters, man, Pete Palmer, Dixie Tarango. Is Herm going to be there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Herm Krabenroth. I mean, come on. If you're in the area, Hollis House of Pizza is easy to find. They have great pizza and subs. They do have gluten-free options if you are one with celiac disease or just eat gluten-free. And the baseball talk is high level. You want to be there
And we usually sit and munch for 2 hours.
Yep. It's fantastic. I've done it several times and it's good stuff. And every so often, from what I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, Dix, every so often a special guest appearance by Joanne Hulbert happens. And you might get lucky and see her in person, the elusive Joanne Hulbert.
You're going to be in too many places at once. This is the problem. Yeah, Wednesdays is very tough, but when you hit them on Tuesdays, I hit a better shot at it. So, but I'm getting pulled in all sorts of different.
Well, this is.
I know that feeling.
This is almost the last one because Herm's going back to California in 3 weeks.
Oh no!
So it's this one this week, next week when I can't be there, and then he's gone for the summer.
Oh, wow.
Saber is everywhere. Everywhere. All right. Other things going on. This is the longest introduction I've ever had. Also on Thursday, June 5th, friend of our chapter, Jeffrey Orens, is going to be at the Boston Public Library. So if you're around Boston Thursday, it's going to be a good day for Saber. He's going to be appearing at 6 o'clock Eastern, discussing his book, Selling Baseball, How Superstars George Wright and Albert Spalding Impacted Sports in America. This book is doing very, very well out there. It's a very good book. He has presented this to our chapter as well. But he is going to be in Boston Thursday in person. And it'll be a nice evening at the library for anybody who's out there. He will also be appearing Saturday, June 7th with the Lajaway Start chapter in North Attleboro, where they meet at First Baptist Church, pastored by Saber member Steve Trimble, where he's going to be sharing a stage with another friend of our chapter, Dan Schlossberg, who will be talking about his book, The New Baseball Bible. There's just so much going on that it's hard to contain it all. Well, was that what you were going to say, Dixie?
I've got a dinner with 10 friends on Thursday, but I'll be at Attleboro on Saturday, so I'll see it anyway.
Perfect. It'll be, that's a nice little church down there. And from what I hear, the church's women's group will be preparing lunch.
They always do, and it's very good.
Yep. They are wonderful. When I went down there to collect books late last year, they could not have been more beautiful and nice to me, and I really appreciated their hospitality. It was very, very nice. So, hey, Gary, tell us what's going on in the New York Giants Preservation Society. Who's up next? For
Thursday, we have Missy Michalecki. She is the San Francisco Giants archivist, and she's going to be showing very famous things in San Francisco Giants history as well as New York Giants history. So, nice. Anybody's interested, they could contact me. We just spent the last month remembering Willie Mays with just incredible guest speakers. So we had John Miller, John Shea, Chris Spire, and Pat Gallagher. So we had a wonderful month.
And you guys meet at 7, right?
I'm sorry?
You guys meet at 7 o'clock on Zoom, right?
7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday.
Ben, go.
I was just going to ask if you're involved with the San Francisco Giants and the New York Giants. Does anybody record history of what happened at Candlestick Park? Significant events?
There's a brand new book coming out next year about Candlestick Park.
I was there in 1993, I think. And then I'm a huge Beatles fan, so that's where the Beatles played their last ever concert. So I don't know if that was ever talked about, but that's not why I went to Candlestick Park. I wanted to see a Giants game live and in person, but
that was the one thing I did not get to do in my lifetime, was to get to Candlestick Park.
Yes. Yeah, pretty neat.
Yes, from what I heard.
Let me tell you about a weekend at Candlestick Park. In 1993, I believe, is when they were threatening to move. So I wanted to go see a game. I had been there several years before that. I saw like one game, but I was determined I was going to see a game at Candlestick, or a couple of games at Candlestick. Well, I'm no fool, at least in this respect. So I knew what to expect for a Friday night at Candlestick Park. I had long underwear. I had 3 sweatshirts, a jacket, gloves, a warm hat.
That's right.
And maybe a couple of other things too. I was still cold, but I made it through the game. That was Friday night. On Saturday afternoon, the game was in the afternoon. I was in a t-shirt and shorts. It was 90.
Yeah, I was there in August, Dixie, of 93. So I think at night I saw the Atlanta Braves, and I can't remember who the other team, that was the night game the next night. And the other game, I can't remember who it was. But I remember being struck at that time, the Atlanta Braves, because Fred McGriff was playing first base for them. And I'd grown up watching the Blue Jays, right? So, but my other point was, when I was at Candlestick at night, even though I was wearing shorts, I had to buy a Giants sweatshirt, and I drank a hot chocolate because I was cold.
Dixie, 93 would have been when they were talking about moving to Toronto, right?
Well, they were talking about moving somewhere. That's why I went.
Maybe Gary can clear that up for me. They're talking about moving to Toronto?
Yes.
So there's the hat that they had proposed to Major League Baseball. New Era made these things up. You could buy this on eBay. And there's actually one on eBay right now for like $80. Are you kidding me? Matter of fact, here's the I think you can still see my screen. Here's the
What would they have done with the Giants in Toronto if the Toronto Blue Jays were there?
That's true.
Toronto was 90. They were going to move there in 93.
Was it 93 or was it early? It had to be earlier than that.
I'm sorry. Toronto was, 76.
76. That makes more sense.
Tampa was 90.
That's it.
I get those T's mixed up.
That's it. Yep. They're lucky they didn't move to Tampa. They'd be playing in Steinbrenner Field right now, for crying out loud.
as selfish as it was of me growing up, I would have preferred them moving back east because time zone, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Yep. You talked about that when you presented the
Yes,
chapter
I did.
last
Yep.
year it was, and you're going to do that all over again later this year, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do a thing on
Yep.
Willie Mays. So.
Nice. Yep. We got it. All of these meetings are actually in our meeting booklet. You get that every Monday. You get a link to it in the Monday message. So you'll be able to see all of these upcoming meetings. And there's meetings in there right now that I have not submitted to the SABR events calendar. Shh, don't tell them. I've got to get it collected so I can send it all over to Jessica and overwhelm her with them all so that she can strangle me at the convention. But there's a lot of them. You'll see dates filled in for most of the rest of the year, including Gary Mintz. He's going to be with us. So we're looking forward to that.
Question
But here-
for Gary.
Hey
Go.
Dixie, how are you, Dixie?
Your Zoom last week lasted 2 hours. Is that the record?
Last week was no, the two prior were 2 hours and 15 minutes each. That was John Shea who wrote the biography on Willie.
I was
And
there
also,
for that.
and also John Miller.
Yes.
Who, last week was a bit shorter, maybe an hour and a half. So usually the meetings are about an hour and 10 minutes. But you know, under the circumstances and it being Willie Mays, letting those guys talk because they had a lot of great things to say and
Yep.
they were wonderful. They really unbelievable. The stories and recollections that both of those gentlemen have were fabulous.
That's awesome stuff.
Isn't Cassidy appearing this week or next week? Bruce?
She's going to be going into an Elysian Fields meeting.
Is that this week?
No. No, I don't have that one unless she scheduled it, and I am unaware. The next one I have for the Elysian Fields meeting is Wednesday, June 11th with Casey Barber. Casey is a long-suffering Pirates fan who is a...
That's redundant.
What's that?
That's redundant.
She's an organizational genius as far as I am concerned, and she has developed a plan or a way to track your baseball card collection on a mobile app called Notion. And she's going to be discussing that June 11th at 7 p.m. on Zoom with the Elysian Fields chapter and showing folks how to do that.
I think Cassidy might be the week after.
And then you got it on the 18th, and my nickname is correct for her. So there, the patron saint of baseball research herself, SABR member and darn fine person Cassidy Lent will be with Donna and her group with the second installment of her Researcher series. She's going to join in on a conversation about the National Baseball Hall of Fame's Giamatti Research Center and how to utilize its resources. This woman is brilliant when it comes to all things baseball. I only mentioned in passing that I was interested to see what the Hall of Fame had on Sukeforth, and that maybe someday I'll go to the hall and see her and she can show me. Within like a day, I had these two monster files in my inbox, and the subject of the email was, surprise, have a look. And it was everything the Hall of Fame has on Clyde Sukeforth. Cassidy Lent is an exceptional person, a bright light in SABR, one of the Hall of Fame's best people, along with Bruce Markison. Don't miss her appearance. Ryan McClanahan, go.
Hey, Bruce, everybody. I actually would love to know if anyone has written any books on the history of multi-purpose stadiums from the 1960s and 1970s.
Yeah, you could write that book in 2 words. They suck.
So this looks like a job for the stadium committee. That was hysterical. So
I'd like someone to gather up all of the information that we received as fans during the 70s with all of the writers telling us how wonderful all of these new stadiums were going to be with their artificial turf and their perfectly symmetrical things, just to see who wrote what and when.
right. I have not seen a book about multi-purpose stadiums in general. Uh, uh, Ryan, you want to take on a writing project, dude?
Yeah, I'll take it
Okay.
up.
All right, you're on. You've been given a writing project. You may write that book, and you report back to us when you've got something.
Sounds good.
Hang on a second here because I'm looking at our I would think that oral research, 19th century Negro Leagues, minor leagues, Latino iconography project, games and simulations, dead ball research. Hey, there's the concessions. I love talking about the concessions committee. Maybe baseball and landmarks. Maybe ballpark research committee. Here it is. They call it ballparks, not stadiums. It's co-chaired by Kevin Johnson and Ron Selter, and this might be something for Ryan. Can you see that, Ryan?
Yeah.
Do I need to make that bigger for you?
I can see. All right.
So, yeah, I would contact either one of them, Kevin Johnson or Ron Selter, where they can give you some direction. Maybe they can help you in terms of what books are out there.
Okay.
It's an idea.
Yeah, I'll even talk to Dixie if necessary.
There you
too.
go. He knows
Sounds
more than they forgot than they'll ever dream of forgetting. Kirk Weber, I'm one of the 2 or 3 people in the world who didn't mind the Kingdom. Who were the other 2? One of them was Dixie. He's got his hand up.
I didn't. I just put that in the chat. It didn't bother me.
Okay, so the other one must have been Ben. So you 3 are now a club.
Sorry, Bruce. That's why I put it in the chat. I should have raised my hand. Where I live in Vancouver, Canada, this stadium that was built when I was a kid, it's called BC Place, and then in 2011 they basically tore it down and rebuilt it. BC Place in the 80s was very much like the Kingdom. Turf field.
BC Place was originally built for an expansion ball club.
Yep.
What happened to the big stadium that get torn down?
In Montreal?
No, the way the played. Whatever the stadium that was back in '69.
Was it
Six
Seattle?
stadiums in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's now Home
Oh,
Depot
6 in
or what?
Seattle. Yeah, that's a Home Depot now.
Yeah.
Is it?
There's a little,
Yep.
there's a small little memorial to where home plate was, and that's it for 6.
Yep. Matt, you had your hand up for a while, I think, right?
Yeah, a couple quick things. I did have the pleasure of going by a Sukeforth's resting place within the last couple of weeks, and it's very nice, and it's been updated significantly, I believe, since his daughter passed, with more to see, more to contemplate, a nice bench. If you have not been to Sukeforth's resting place any time in your life, or have not been recently, I encourage you to make the trip.
Which reminds me, I also got the chance to speak to his great-granddaughter recently, who is, so I get this email from this woman who says, I am Clyde Sukeforth's great-granddaughter. And I said to myself, this is a problem. And come to find out, her family was overjoyed that we named the chapter after him. And there is his grave marker. I think that is not the one of the pictures you took the other day, right?
Mine, of all things, you can see less of the grave marker because the hostas are growing pretty vibrantly in front of it.
There you are.
Yeah,
There it
that's
is.
that's the current layout.
Yep. And I got this beautiful email. We went back and forth on Facebook for a while. Her family was overjoyed by the fact that we named the chapter after Clyde because they want to see his name be out there more for what he did in that time in 47. I had said to her, I said, I looked for people who were related to him and couldn't find anyone. And, we're sorry that we didn't ask. And she said, you didn't have to. This is a beautiful thing that you guys have done. I'm hoping to get together with her because she's talking about having donating artifacts to the chapter from her great grandfather's career. So that's really cool.
Bruce, tell us again how she found you.
She found the chapter's Facebook page, went out to SABR, found our page on SABR, found my name as chapter chair, clicked the name, and emailed me directly.
Did she say why she was looking for it at that particular moment?
It apparently just came up in some sort of a Facebook, hey, you might like this group thing, or you might like whatever. And all of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. This is wonderful. Sent me pictures of her son who is pitching in Little League for the first time this year. It's really cool. I can't say enough good things. I've got to get in touch with her tomorrow, my day off, and see if we can find a time to get together. Joe, I'll get to you in a sec. Stephen Meyerson in the chat. The turf fields had the advantage of teams needing athletic players who could cover ground in the field and run the bases. The symmetry meant that teams could not stack the lineup to fit the stadium. Colorado can't win and has not figured out how to build the team to win at home. Frankly, I think it's probably because they won't spend money. The single-digit win total is one of the lead stories so far this season, and I think that's a hint on Steven's part to start talking about some contemporary baseball items as well. Roger in the chat says, I want to see one of your meetings from a few weeks ago. How can I see the Mullane meeting? Okay, Raj, if you go out to YouTube, this is our YouTube channel. I think that just came up. You should be able to see that. All of the meetings are posted here. They're in chronological order, so I would suggest hitting the search button here and typing in, I believe.
And I think you say that at the beginning of every meeting, and I miss it every time.
Well, there you go. There's Doug's meeting. Doug was great.
Thank you.
Join the subscribers, and that's pretty cool as well. Joe, go.
A couple of things. First, the fact of what Clyde did is, to me, a hell of a lot more important than what most of the players get known for. I don't really care that they're great players or anything else. Clyde actually did something that meant something. And I think that's the key to who we should remember as people who do good. The second thing I want to talk about, every stadium is in fact a multi-purpose place, because if you own a stadium, you can't afford to run it if you only do baseball. It just doesn't work. You have to do other things. A lot of them have football, a lot of them have the high school games, but even with high school and local college, if they have it, plus a minor league or a major league for that matter, you can't make money in a stadium if you don't do other things beside that. So I think that's an important consideration if you're doing a stadium anyway. The other thing I wanted to mention, getting back to real baseball, today's the first day that Lou Gehrig was in the starting lineup. in 1925. He pinch hit the day before, but this was his first regular start.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the people he replaced left the team almost immediately, which was Wally Pipp, who had the mistake of getting hit in the head by a ball during batting practice.
Yeah, he should have ducked.
He should have. Good point. And of course, that put him out, and he was gone the next year. He went to Pittsburgh. And interestingly enough, it's also the day that Lou Gehrig died.
Yep.
Different year, 1941, that was. Yep. So, that's very interesting if you like Gehrig, which obviously we all do. That's what I had for the moment.
A little bit of local news right now, mid-2 in beautiful downtown Boston. Boston's down 6-0 to the Angels. Ouch. Ben, save me.
There's no saving.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
I was going to say one of the interesting things about the Rockies, I might still have the lineup cards from last year, because of the Spokane Indians in the Northwest League, where my local home team, the Vancouver Canadians, play. There was 3 guys last year, and if I could pull the lineup card out, and I think they've moved up to AA now, that are really heavy prospects for potentially for the Rockies, that are making their way up the ladder. I can't remember all their names. I might have it listed, but they could save the Rockies sooner rather than later. One of them is Kyle Karros. Is Eric Karros' son.
Yeah.
So Spokane in the last 2 years before this year was the Vancouver Canadians' nemesis, and they won the Northwest League.
So, Matt, I'll get back to you in just a minute, but we've spoken a little bit about Colorado, and they've got 9 wins. So my question to the crowd right now is, are they going to stink bad enough where we're going to be comparing them to last year's White Sox and the 62 Mets, or are they going to be worse?
Worse.
What do you think?
They're going to be worse because they have no pitching.
They get socked around. It's crazy talk what's going on.
And they can't win games that they really have to win to avoid the embarrassment, but they lose games 2-1 and 3-2. They just can't win anything.
They might win if you could get them to play the Red Sox.
So Joe's a real Red Sox fan. I don't know if you can tell that. And by that I mean he can't stand them. I'm looking at this club and I'm saying to myself, 9 wins in June the 2nd indicates to me that this could be a club that wins fewer than 40. They could win fewer than 37. They could win 35 games at the most. And it gets uglier by the second out there. I can't. I'm trying to pull up the Rockies numbers so far. I'll go to Fangraphs, see if I can pull them up. But I mean, I'm strongly considering getting on a plane and flying out there for Major League minimum, because I'll go out there and make a fool out of myself in a Rockies uniform, just like all the rest of them are doing. I mean, come on.
I wonder if they'll be buyers or sellers.
What's that?
I wonder if they'll be buyers or sellers.
Right. So let's see here. If I've got, I'll have to bring it up in a minute. Matt, go.
Sorry. I'm just picturing it. The ballpark's nice. It's a nice experience. It's a great view. You should go see them, whatever happens.
Right.
With the passing of George Wendt, I thought I would look up a couple things norm related for people who like their norms. Yes. Very, very, very important, of course, to us here in the
absolutely.
And there are four norms who have made it to World Series play. And my quick question here is, which norm won 2 World Series, whereas each of the other norms have captured 1 World Series?
Norm Cash?
He's got the one. He's got the highest WAR of the 4 norms easily.
Huh.
Norm Charlton.
Nasty
No.
boy. Yes.
Yeah, it was Norm Seaburn. Pair of championships with the bad guys, unfortunately. The good news is he did at least, good news for Mark Hoyles, he did at least get to be part of the 67 Boston team. Yep. And he got to play, he got to do his best there. But he was the only one of the 4 norms to suit up for Boston. So when you're thinking about your norms, there's a lot out there to root for, but I think those are probably the 4 best, all All-Stars, all World Series champions in different cities.
Roger, go ahead, buddy.
Okay. You talked about the White Sox of last year. You talked about Colorado this year.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they want more teams in major leagues? Aren't we overdoing it quite a bit now?
Dixie and whoever said that have the word right off the bat.
Money.
Dixie, I think those bills are too small.
Not for the Rockies.
So Roger makes a good point. Why are we expanding Major League Baseball when we have teams that are so darn bad out there right now? And it all comes down to the money. It really does, because you're going to expand by 2 teams before Manfred leaves office. They're going to command an expansion fee that is probably going to be $2 billion each, with a B. And there's an old saying out there, and it's very simple: that ain't hay. And you're going to divide $4 billion up amongst 30 teams. That's a lot of dough.
Well,
the thing is getting them to spend the money on players that are going to be quality major leaguers. As far as I'm concerned, Pittsburgh, Oakland, Colorado, even the White Sox, these are all teams that have thrown in the towel and said, this is an easy way to print money. And if we're terrible on the field, so what? Baltimore's bad, and I'm an Orioles guy. Baltimore's bad because they stumbled out of the gate and everybody got hurt. I don't believe that it's woeful misconduct on the part of the front office. I mean, they didn't spend money, but on paper, we don't play the games on paper, I know, but on paper, that ball club looked halfway decent. And everybody screamed about, oh my God, we didn't sign Corbin Burns. You should have thrown a boatload of money at him. Well, arms are a crapshoot. What happened Sunday? His season's over. And maybe next season too. He blew out his elbow. He threw a pitch, looked at the dugout and said, come get me. So, but to answer your question definitively, Raj, it's very simple. The expansion fee means a ton of money for franchises to swim in for a little while. And whatever happens to the on-field product, it's there.
Greed comes first.
Some things should count more than that. I know it's not true, but the quality of play is terrible. Half the teams don't have a chance from the beginning. If they do, they're lucky.
I can't argue the point with you. I can't argue the point. That my wife will tell you that I've been gravitating a lot more toward minor league baseball lately because I like the level of competition and the comfort in the ballparks. And I mean, frankly, we were at Holman Stadium in Nashua a few nights ago, and that was out of sight. It was a fantastic venue to watch. I mean, it's Futures League. It's, these are 19 and 20-year-old kids, but that's baseball. It's no frills. It's the essence of baseball. There's kids running around. I was telling Mark will tell you when I was kidding around. We had Vuvuzela guy down in the front row who had one of those plastic Vuvuzelas having a good time. Somebody blowing bubbles, kids running around. It's worth it to get in the car and to go to venues like this and watch the game for what it's supposed to be. Do we all love Major League Baseball? Sure. I love going up to Fenway, wherever. I can't wait to get to Dallas to get into that ballpark down there. A lot of people say it looks like a Costco, but I want to see it because it's baseball. I mean, that's what we're here for. Dixie, go.
Three things. First of all, if they put in a couple of new teams and they don't do a salary cap, that means that the better teams are just going to have two more teams to kill out there.
Yeah.
So it serves no purpose whatsoever except for the new fans and the new ballparks whose team will be 2-65 at home. Secondly, I am maybe the only person on the screen who saw the 2 World Series games at Coors Field in person.
Oh.
I was there.
Yeah, he's probably right. I think he's right.
I was there. And thirdly, Bruce, you spoke about concessions. Well, I'll tell you a tiny story. The greatest, I don't think it can be topped, the greatest name for a concession that I have ever run across at a ballpark, and I've been to 50 of them, was in Atlanta. Not the first ballpark, not this ballpark, but the middle ballpark. They had a hot dog concession. And what they did was they served hot dogs as hot dogs were served around the country. So if you had a Boston hot dog, you had it a special way. A bratwurst from Milwaukee, a Dodger dog from out west. They served the hot dogs in that fashion, and you could get them there at a concession called Frankly, My Dear.
Love it. Love it.
In Atlanta.
Ben wants to know if they had 3-foot hot dogs.
The best name I've ever heard.
Go ahead, Ben. Oh, there's the 3-foot hot dog. There it is. Say something to get that on camera, Ben.
Yeah, I was going to say too, when we were talking about bad teams like Colorado, it immediately made me think of Major League and the woman owner. Maybe Colorado wants to be bad enough so they can relocate to Miami. They get their attendance to fall. What was it in the movie? Under 800,000.
How are we feeling about our teams so far this year? I mean, we all know how I'm feeling about my Orioles. They're not going anywhere. It's going to be one of those years. Oh, well.
Hey, you know what? The other thing, too, is Santander is not doing that well in Toronto.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yep.
Oh, well.
Yep. Well, you know what? For a team we don't get to talk about much, I'm going back to Roger. Roger, how you feeling about your Reds right now?
You know, I was all set to make fun of last place teams like Baltimore and Pittsburgh, but you know, the Reds lose series to both of them. So yeah, they just announced that they're going to be sellers this year.
Oh.
How do you get that much talent and want to sell them?
Like Dela Cruz? Like sell Dela Cruz?
They couldn't do that. There are probably only a couple, like Hunter Green, that they won't get rid of, but just can't stand the sellers all the time. Yeah.
I long for the days of the Cincinnati Reds being as good as they used to be. The days of the big red machine. What was it, 90? They won the World Series with Louis?
I was going to say the early 90s Reds when I was watching a lot of World Series and playoff games because I followed the Oakland A's. And we can remember the days of
73, 74.
No, I was thinking 89-90 against the Reds.
Yep.
89-90 against the Reds with that woman owner, Marge Schott.
Yes.
And she was a horrible racist person. Remember, she made all those
She was an awful person. She
tried hard. She was stupid, but you know, but she did try to get a winner, and she got one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking 72
they-
with
the
Oakland or
Athletics.
70 with Baltimore.
Royals called up Jack Caglione today. He is the number 10 prospect in all of Major League Baseball. And
Hey, Bruce, I got a question for Dixie since he's 1 mile from Fenway.
sure, hop in.
Dixie, why are the Red Sox dangling Jaron Duran?
I don't know. I don't know if they're panicking or what. They live their lives panicking.
Every time I see him, the guy's like the fastest guy in baseball.
Well, he is, but
Trade him to the Giants.
nothing is helping this team. And when their corner guys, the third baseman and the first baseman, went down, they were not planning on that. This team cannot handle adversity in that much adversity at one time. So it's a panic situation now.
Yeah.
What's
Terrible.
happening with Rafael Devers? I thought there was that controversy with he didn't want to play first base.
Well, they're playing with his mind.
Oh.
And it's just another soap opera at Fenway. It always is. Nobody expected the two corner guys to be gone, and where could Devers play? The corners. But they can't keep doing that to a guy of his talent. They can't keep saying, okay, play third, okay, play first, okay, DH. You can't do that with this guy. You just can't. So just
why is that? He's not paid enough money?
It's his makeup. He was doing okay at third base, but as soon as you took that away from him and then tell him, okay, you're going to DH. Oh, wait a minute, you've got to play first. You can't do that to some players. You can't. And Jim Rice is saying that. He said, leave, and David Ortiz said it today, leave him alone. The guy's hitting like 340 now after going 0 for 21 to start the season. They have very little to show anyone. This guy is actually doing something. Leave him alone and worry about the rest of the team. I'm not even a Red Sox fan, so I don't care. I don't have tickets to sell anymore. So I don't have to worry about whether or not they're winning.
They could be trying to find a home for Roman Anthony, a spot for him to get in the field.
Well, they've got a lot of options, but right now they're hurting because whatever they do is wrong. It seems to be.
Yep.
With Bregman out 2 months, who will play third base if not Devers from Stephen Meyerson? Who's playing third for the Red Sox?
I got 3 or 4 guys who can play it long enough, but who's going to be good that day? They just brought up Meyer. I saw his very first game. He struck out the first 3 times he came. But now he's hitting normal, so he could be the third baseman. And they have 3 guys who can play first base. So it's not a crucial situation. It's just not the situation that they had envisioned when the season started, having Bregman at third and Casas at first. That would have been fine, but they're gone.
Yep. Ian, what's your take on it? See if we can get Ian in tonight. There he is.
I agree with Dixie. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of panic there. I think I wouldn't want to get rid of Duran, and I agree with his take on Raffy Devers. I think he's a simple guy, and I think it would help if he'd say, yeah, I'll play with the media and with the fans, but I think they just got to leave him alone at this point. I think they handled it poorly at the outset, so I don't know. They got some young players. That's exciting. They made some moves in the offseason, Crochet, so that's better than they've been the last couple of years, even though the record's not real good.
I seem to recall an article in the Boston Globe a couple of days ago that was going after Cora for his sense of urgency this year. And I'm wondering as if the media or the fans are beginning to, for lack of better, turn a little bit on Cora, because he's been a media darling there for an awfully long time. And now we're seeing, who was it wrote that article? I have to go find it.
Shaughnessy.
Was that?
Shaughnessy wrote it.
Was that Shaughnessy who wrote that?
Yeah, it was his Cora's lack of immediacy.
Yeah, that's
Lack of
you were talking about the same article. Yeah, that was Shaughnessy. Okay. Does anybody think it's actually Cora that's the problem?
No.
No. Anybody with a head doesn't, at least. Molly had her hand up a while ago.
Cora, what are you going to do? Who's going to manage the team? Better.
There's nobody out there to manage, for crying out loud.
Ron Renicky.
Renicky's out there, yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he could fill it. Molly had her hand up a while ago. She put it down. Molly, did you have anything?
Not on this topic, but related back to the books. I quickly went over there and was rifling through them just to get an idea of how many cricket books we had for Joanne, and I sent her a message. But while rifling, I found 2 books about women in early sports in England, and I was wondering if anyone would be interested in those.
If you are interested in them, email Molly directly or send her a message in the chat, and we can hook you up with something like that. If we got books, you saw that picture. We got books, man. And that's not all the books that she donated. Apparently, she donated what was it, 100, maybe 200 books to the Hall of Fame?
100 books went to Cassidy.
Yep.
And then there was someone who requested a few books, and then we got all the other books.
We got organizational charts from the Red Sox from the 70s.
Ooh.
It's nuts to see this stuff. I'll have to take some pictures of it and show Mark at some point. Mark, you get a kick out of it at all. So here we are, a month in. I mean, we all know I'm suffering as a Orioles fan, but Gary, your Giants, where do you think they're going?
You know, I got to tell you, I am pretty content so far. That being said, team should be better. They have a lot of really good young pitchers, which I know the Orioles can use. And Willie Adames has been just god-awful. I mean, the Giants should have more wins. They leave so many runners in scoring position. They lost the other day, 1-0. Can't lose to the Marlins 1-0. Just can't.
No, you can't.
That being said, again, there seems to be a different attitude this year. I'm hoping Buster Posey, unlike his predecessor, will know what to do at the trade deadline, because the Giants, as currently constructed, they'll play over 500, but there's a chance with their pitching staff to be much better than that. And if they can swing a couple of deals for some hitters, I'd be all in favor of that, because there's nothing on the farm coming up who can hit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take.
There you go. So a while back, I got a link from Alex Stace, and I've been using this much more frequently than a lot of other sites when I want to look at results. This is really cool. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. Should be popping up any second. Can you guys see that? Nothing there? There it is. Hopefully you can see that. This is a website called the Baseball Cube. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And it sets up like the newspaper, where you can see the old-time box scores, the old-time tables for batting leaders. You can see today's games and the matchups, transactions. There's a lot of ads on it. You can pay to get the ads taken off. I haven't done it yet. There's the injured list on the left here. This is a really cool thing. Thebaseballcube.com is the website. If you're looking for something a little different, or you want that newspaper feel for your stats, That's a good place to be. It's a lot. It's very interesting. It's a lot of numbers and stats, and it's very comprehensive. We have spent an hour talking about a lot of baseball. Once again, this is the way SABR should be. Just a bunch of folks getting together, talking about the game, celebrating the game, enjoying everything around it. And we're going to do this again next week. Only next week, Monday, June 9th, we're going to have Tim Newby with us. Tim Newby has a book called The Original Louisville Slugger, The Life and Times of a Forgotten Baseball Legend, Pete Browning. This is sure to be a fun and interesting book talk. I encourage you to sign up. The link to sign up is in the SABR events calendar and the SABR chapter meeting booklet distributed each week with the Monday Message newsletter. And finally, if you're a baseball fan watching us on YouTube and you like what you see, please like this video and subscribe to our channel to be alerted to each of our weekly uploads. And if you are not yet a member, here it comes. You need to join the Society for American Baseball Research, the premier baseball community, offering an amazing baseball buffet of options to explore your fandom. SABR boasts more than 35 different research committees, over 80 regional chapters, and innumerable opportunities to connect with baseball minds across the world, like everybody in this room tonight. For more information on SABR, go to SABR.org today. Guys, you have been great. This has been a great little conversation. I appreciate all of you. But let's get everybody out of here in front of our TVs to watch some baseball, and we'll see everybody next week. Have a good night, everybody.